Hello everyone. As we know that inventory is going up and market has started to shift quite significantly. We've been seeing sales been dropping and inventory has been going up. In today's video, we got so much information for you that includes unemployment numbers, what you should expect from Bank of Canada, and their decision is they're going to make a decision on September 17th. And also the monthly report, what is happening in Calgary and its surrounding areas. At the same time, we'll talk a little bit about luxury home market in Calgary and obviously the mortgage rates and also the weekly numbers. Now, if you are a seller, there is one thing that you really need to pay attention. Obviously, this information will help you make that decision. But if you are a seller, then you need to understand that market has shifted very significantly and you need to adjust accordingly. Now, as we know that obviously properties are still selling, and the thing is, if things are done right, but inventory increase in the increase in inventory has put so much pressure on the sellers right now. When they're selling their property, it's not that easy anymore. So make sure you pay attention to all the details why we're saying that. But if you're a buyer, actually there is so much to choose from now these days that you can actually definitely pick the right properties and obviously negotiate prices better. And obviously negotiations are happening, and take advantage of that. Even as an investor, there are more opportunities now these days. So keep those ones in mind. So let's just start with what just came out a couple of days ago. That is our unemployment numbers. Were they a shock? No. Most of this was already expected. And the reason behind that is we know that tariffs have started to make a big impact on Canadian economy, and Canada shed about 66,000 jobs in the month of August, which is quite significant because our unemployment rate has been going up. And when you look at the numbers, Canada's unemployment went up to 7.1%, and at the same time, Alberta also lost 14,000 jobs, and our unemployment rate went to 8.5%, 8.4%, which is quite significant. We have seen these numbers close to 2016, 2017. Our unemployment even at that time was quite high. As you can see in this graph right here, the unemployment rate in Alberta was quite high even in 2016, 17. And you can, in the graph right below it, the gray one, that'll show you actually starting from 1980s how the unemployment numbers were going in Canada, and the big bump in there is because of the COVID. So keep that in mind that the unemployment has gone up, but when it comes to comparing our cities, Calgary's unemployment stayed at the same number at 7.7%, but in Edmonton it went up to 8.5%, where in the past Edmonton's unemployment was quite low, but it jumped quite a bit higher now. And even when you look at Red Deer and Lethbridge, their unemployment also went to about 6.7%. So things have changed quite significantly. But one thing I always want to remind you, even though everything that happens negative around us impacts us, our decision making as well. And the reason our unemployment numbers are really high because people are still moving to Alberta because they cannot still afford properties or anything in other areas. And now, because of that, the Alberta's unemployment has gone up to about 8.4%, and now Alberta is number 2nd in Canada when it comes to the highest unemployment provinces. So in number 1 is Newfoundland and Labrador. Theirs is above 10%. But Saskatchewan has been doing really well, no doubt about that. In that Prairie province, their unemployment is just about 4% or so, slightly over 4%. So that is the unemployment numbers. Why are we talking about this? Because we know that Bank of Canada will be keeping this, considering it while making a decision on the interest rate on September 17th. So Bank of Canada's date is coming up on September 17th. This will be part of their decision. They are now the second thing that they're going to wait, and right before they make that decision, they will also receive the inflation numbers. If the as we know, because of tariffs, inflation is going to be going up. So if it stays under control, how they really actually make that decision. But the decision to cut interest rate has gone up now. So the unemployment numbers are going to be part of that. So keep that part in mind. Now, let's talk about our monthly numbers. The reason I'm giving you these monthly numbers, so it can give you a little bit of a picture of what's happening in Calgary and the surrounding areas. So our sales here went down from 2,182 sales that we had in the month of August in 2024 to 1,989. That's about 200 units less compared to 2024 August, and that was a drop of pretty close to 9%. Now, when I looked at the month of July, we were at about 100 units less than July. So sales are obviously happening, but not at the same rate. And when it comes to new listings, keep this part in mind, and I keep telling everybody that, it is always about supply and demand. In the month of August, we didn't receive that many listings, so listings were down by pretty close to 2%. We had 3,478 units that hit the market. That was a drop of about 1.67%, but the inventory is still quite high. We had 6,661 units that were up for sale, and that was an increase of 48% compared to August 2024. Quite significant. And now it takes on an average about 3.35 months to sell a property. That's how long it'll take to sell all the properties that are in the market. That's months of supply. And the median price was at 570,000, which was an increase, but the benchmark price went down by 4% to 577,200. We had that at 601,800 in August 2024. So there is a significant shift in the market. And when it comes to talking about regions close to Calgary, Calgary still actually had about 57% sales to listing ratio. Obviously, we are the biggest players around in this region, and so when it comes to other surrounding communities, like Airdrie was also at 57%, but we know that Chestermere has bigger properties and takes quite a while to sell properties there. Their actually sales to listing ratio was only at 40%, and Rocky View region was at 49%. But if you look at other regions, even if you look at Willow Creek region, 90%, and the Bighorn region is at 72%. And when it comes to other areas, they're still doing quite good, but Nihil was quite busy a couple months ago, now at 42%. So keep those numbers in mind while you're thinking about buying or selling. And as I mentioned, as a seller, you need to really adjust to the new reality before you put your property into the market. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is about the luxury market in Calgary, luxury homes. Surprisingly, starting from January to June, when it comes to properties that were above 1 million, the sales in Calgary went up actually 3%. So surprisingly, the luxury market has been quite active. We only had numbers up to the end of June, and there were sales of 1,164 units that were above million. and that was an increase of 3%. But when it comes to comparing it to Vancouver and Toronto, Vancouver's luxury market is quite down. Obviously, their average price in luxury market is close to 4 million, but it was down by 52%, and the Toronto market was also down by somewhere close to about 25-26%. Calgary's went up, but Montreal went crazy. Their market was up by almost 50%. So luxury houses are still selling in Calgary. Now, when it comes to mortgage rates, as we know that banks are holding their rates pretty steady right now. Obviously, they are offering cashback offers, but keep in mind they're offering rates right now close to 4%. But if the interest rate comes down, and we still have 3 more dates, September 17th, October 29th, and December 10th. Keep those ones in mind. And that's when that Bank of Canada will make a decision, and we'll see how many times they really drop interest rates. As I mentioned, inflation is going to be a key part of their decision making. And let's get back to the weekly numbers. I was quite surprised to see that Calgary's market, as I mentioned, has shifted quite a bit in the last 1 week. As I mentioned in August, our new listings had dropped pretty close to 2%. Now, just imagine this, that new listings last week, 978 properties came into the market. A lot of people want to list their properties at the beginning of the month for so many different reasons. We're seeing this number for this week. I don't think we'll see that number for in the coming weeks till the end of the month. Back on the market were 82 properties. 717 properties saw a price decrease. 19 properties saw price increase. 396 properties went pending. 358, only 358 properties got sold. 322 properties expired, 6 were withdrawn, and 274 properties were terminated. Now, as I mentioned before, we are giving free tickets to Calgary Home Show. If you are interested, please let us know. We have received some calls, and we'll gladly give you those tickets if you contact us. And if you need any advice about real estate and what's happening in Calgary, and if you're thinking to buy and sell, please give me a call. My phone number is 403-689-2345. Thank you.